Once upon a time, in a vast green valley surrounded by towering mountains, lived a tiny ant named Nia. Nia was no ordinary ant. She dreamed of doing something no ant had ever done before, climbing the tallest mountain in the valley, Mount Skyreach. The other ants in her colony laughed at her dream. "You're just an ant," they said. "Mountains are for eagles and giants, not tiny creatures like you. Stay here, where it's safe." But Nia believed in herself. She knew she was small, but her determination was mighty. One morning, before the sun rose, she packed a single grain of food and set off toward the mountain. As she approached the mountain, she realized how massive it truly was. The peak was hidden in the clouds, and the rocky surface looked impossible to climb. For a moment, doubt crept into her heart. But then she whispered to herself, "One step at a time. I'll take one step at a time." Nia began her climb. The first part of the journey was steep, and the sharp rocks scratched her legs. She slipped many times, but held on tightly. As she reached the middle of the mountain, she came across a grasshopper. The grasshopper laughed and said, "What are you doing here, tiny ant? Go back to your colony. This is no place for someone as small as you." Nia smiled and replied, "I may be small, but I'm strong. Watch me." She continued climbing. A few hours later, Nia grew tired. Her tiny legs ached, and her food supply was almost gone. She thought about giving up and going back. Suddenly, she heard a voice. It was a caterpillar hanging from a branch. "You're almost halfway," said the caterpillar. "When I wanted to give up, I remembered that struggles turn into strength. Don't stop now." Encouraged, Nia took a deep breath and kept going. As night fell, the wind grew cold, and the mountain became even harder to climb. Nia found a small crack in the rocks and rested there. Looking up at the stars, she thought, "If I stop now, I'll never know how far I could have gone." The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the mountain, Nia continued her journey. Her legs were weak, but her heart was strong. Finally, after days of climbing, Nia reached the top of Mount Skyreach. She stood on the highest rock and looked out at the world below. She saw her tiny colony in the valley and the endless sky above her. In that moment, Nia realized something incredible. It wasn't just the mountain she had conquered, it was her fear, her doubt, and the voices that told her she couldn't do it. When she returned to the colony, the other ants were amazed. "You really did it?" they asked. "I did," Nia said with a smile. "Not because I was big or special, but because I never stopped trying." From that day on, Nia inspired other ants to chase their dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. Moral: no mountain is too high for a heart filled with determination. One step at a time, you can achieve the impossible. Thank you for listening to the story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more amazing stories. Your support means the world to me. See you in the next one.